Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Be More podcast, where we inspire you to be a little bit more of every role within the Salesforce community, Slack, and MuleSoft, as well as other areas like Tableau. For today's session, we are diving in and exploring what it takes to be more MuleSoft ambassador. And I'm really excited today for our golden guest. And so without further ado, Melissa, are you able to introduce yourself for our audience, please?
Sure. Hello, I'm Melissa Shepard. I am a Salesforce certified technical architect, also a Salesforce MVP, a MuleSoft ambassador, a well-architected ambassador, Ladies Be Architects ambassador, Golden Hoodie, marketing champion, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
37 times certified, founder of a program called Scale Up Arcs, also founder of Architect Ohana Slack, and I co-lead the Boston Architect Community Group and also an organizer for Architect Dreamin' and Northeast Dreamin'.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's great to have you on. And yeah, just that list of things proves how much you do in the community and quite rightfully deserve your MVP title along with your MuleSoft ambassador title and your golden hoodie as well. So it's great to have somebody like you on the show. So for today's episode, we're talking kind of a segment of those things that you do, and we're focusing on MuleSoft Ambassador. So, are you able to describe to our audience what it takes to be a MuleSoft Ambassador and kind of what activities or events that you're involved in as an ambassador?
Sure. So, the first part of becoming a MuleSoft ambassador is first becoming a MuleSoft mentor. And this is something that you can inquire about. I think you can apply yourself. You can also get nominated by other MuleSoft ambassadors or other MuleSoft mentors. So it's really kind of being involved in the community, speaking at events, and just showing expertise. So it's actually kind of similar to MVP,
Hmm.
but it's nice that they actually kind of have a uh, pathway for you to become a mentor, and then you get mentored by another ambassador that kind of teaches you like these are the expectations, these are the things we want you to see you do. You're just kind of involved and out there helping the community, and it can be both MuleSoft and Salesforce. So there
Hmm.
are some of us that are more from the Salesforce side, but we're out there kind of bridging the gap between Salesforce and MuleSoft because they both have kind of been siloed programs. So that's kind of what it means for me to be a MuleSoft ambassador.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And I think it's great that you're working to kind of bridge the technologies and maybe across the divides that exist in the ecosystem. Because ultimately, if you know a little bit of Salesforce, you're a lot more powerful if you know a little bit of MuleSoft as well, and the other way around. So I think that's great. And kind of thinking in your role now as an ambassador, what type of other people do you interact with kind of on a daily basis as well as your mentor?
So I interact with a lot of the MuleSoft community. So they have a whole Slack that's dedicated to the MuleSoft community. So you have
Mm.
people out there that are actually running MuleSoft meetup groups, which are just like the Salesforce community groups. So those actually exist. You're interacting just with other people that are out there doing stuff for the community. So a community leader for MuleSoft isn't just someone that runs a community group. It's someone that's out there speaking and teaching and working with other people and helping other people presenting, or maybe you're running a group as well. So it's a very inclusive community and I love it. And there's actually a lot of architects in the MuleSoft community. So being someone that is an architect, it's a really great area for me to be in and interact with others that are really kind of interested in the same things.
Yeah, totally. That sounds amazing. So thinking about this role as something that you do as well as your full-time job and other commitments within the Salesforce community as well, what type of kind of time commitment are we talking about here? Like on an average week, how much time do you need to put into the program? Is it almost as much time as you can give it? Is it quite flexible? Like how do you manage that against your various other commitments?
So There is an actual time commitment that you're expected, and it's really not as much time, but it's contributions. So you have to have a few
Mm,
contributions each quarter to keep your status as an ambassador. And this could be running or hosting a community group, speaking at a community group, speaking at an event. There's all different ways that you can contribute. You could also contribute through the blog or your own blog posts. It's not too restrictive. So whenever I speak at an event, that qualifies for one of my
yeah.
contributions, which is great. So I became MuleSoft ambassador last year, became MuleSoft ambassador before MVP, which was great because I got all the MVP benefits through this program, which
Hmm.
I had no idea. I didn't know. I was just like, oh, this seems cool. I want to represent MuleSoft a bit more. And then they made me an ambassador, and I was like, wow, I get all this stuff. This is really great. So appreciative to the program
Mm,
for bringing me in and allowing me to help bring more visibility to the program. So what I do is when I speak, I think about ways that I can maybe involve MuleSoft or bring it in or speak about it a bit or even present on something that's MuleSoft focused
yeah.
and ways where I can present to bring more Salesforce people over to learning about MuleSoft or becoming more interested because there's a lot of different levels to MuleSoft now and it's becoming a lot more accessible to this just even Salesforce admins and developers.
Mm, yeah, totally. Okay, that's great. So, kind of thinking about this as maybe somebody that's listening to the podcast and they're interested in perhaps pursuing the path to ambassador themselves, what tips or advice would you give to them as somebody looking to start out? Like, are there some great like learning tracks or learning resources? What does it kind of take to get started, do you think?
That's a good question. So for me, I was already doing everything, so
Mhm.
it just
Yeah.
really kind of a natural thing to just bring me in and put me in as a mentor, and then bring me out as an ambassador. Because I was already out there speaking and doing community things and running user groups and all that. I would say just look for ways to get involved. You to try to present at an event like a Dreamin' event, or try to
Mhm.
speak in a community group. Check out your local community group, whether it's Salesforce or MuleSoft, um, or look for ways to do things online, maybe podcasts, or speak about your expertise and just try to bring that to the public. It's just really about being out there and teaching people and becoming more of a mentor. That's why it's called MuleSoft
Yeah.
Mentor. You move to ambassador. So
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And are there perhaps additional resources for you if you're already a MuleSoft or Salesforce partner? Like, can you actually get hands on and kind of into the system to kind of learn it firsthand as well?
for MuleSoft.
Mm.
So the cool thing about MuleSoft is anybody can go and sign up for a free Anypoint account. So I believe it's valid for 30 days, but something that I've been able to do as an ambassador is get my developer org, kind of like a
Yeah.
sandbox or a trailhead org extended because I like to build things, I like to do demos, I like to present on things. So because of that, I don't want to lose the work that I've done. But
Yeah.
that's the great thing is anyone can go sign up for an org. So I actually have a presentation that I do on Anypoint Code Builder, and that's one of the resources that I provide is where you can go and sign up, and it's just the MuleSoft site. I think you go to mulesoft.com and it's like free 30-day Anypoint trial or something. So you have to have the Anypoint account in order to actually build the integrations in Code Builder.
Yeah. Okay. And are there any restrictions there with other products? Like, for example, my understanding could be wrong. MuleSoft Composer is only available to partners, for example.
That one, as far as I know so far, is just available to partners. I was able to get it and play around with it a bit as a partner. I was able to
Hmm.
request it, but yeah, I don't know about that one yet as a trial org. But hopefully that would be something down the line because it's cool. That is
Yeah.
a tool that does make Salesforce integration much more accessible to everyone, especially admins.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as the MuleSoft kind of collection suite of products grows, with Composer perhaps being a newer addition to that, you kind of get other parts like the RPA, which is another new product, right?
Yep. And then there's even some more cool new functionality where you can call MuleSoft APIs from in Flow. So, uh,
Nice. Yeah.
but it won't actually work unless you have a running valid account running on MuleSoft. So, yeah, but you should be able to do that with a free Anypoint account.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, I think that's great, solid advice there, and something for our audience to think about. So, thinking now on your own journey as a MuleSoft ambassador, I appreciate hindsight is a kind of double-edged sword, really. But if you were to start out again, is there anything you would change or do differently, do you think?
No, I don't. I
No?
don't. Nope. I actually really enjoyed being an ambassador and just was doing as much for the program as I could in this past year, bringing more visibility to it, speaking on more MuleSoft topics such as
Hmm.
like Code Builder. I presented on the web-based version. I did a code live with Akshata on that. I actually went through and demoed it. I've also spoken on the Anypoint Code Builder plugin for Visual Studio Code.
Yeah.
Also had a presentation at Dreamforce on Composer and connect using Composer to connect with Slack to do some more complex Slack integrations, which is a
Hmm.
really cool use case. So you can go above and beyond the out of the box Slack integrations in Salesforce with Composer.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm lucky to have been given a partner org at a point in time and managed to get my hands on Composer as well, and was kind of really impressed with how easy it was to build those integrations. I think I had a play with Zendesk, Jira, Slack,
Yep.
Box,
Yep.
and they didn't even all have to involve Salesforce. Like one of them was uploading a file in Box and then sending something into Slack, like
Yeah.
as a result. So even though it's from within Salesforce, you're kind of in that mindset, like you have to log in Salesforce to do it. I think
Right.
there's a lot of potential there. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
just so much you can do with it.
Hmm. Okay. Awesome. So thinking about now about the qualities of somebody who is a MuleSoft ambassador, what kind of skills or attributes do you think it takes to be a MuleSoft ambassador? Like curiosity and perhaps public speaking, are those things that are important, do you think?
Absolutely, yeah. And I would say don't get too hung up on like being a MuleSoft expert.
Hmm.
I think just having some curiosity around the platform and the products is enough. And like what I did is there's things that I didn't even know. It's like Composer. I went and got it and I learned it and started teaching it. Code
Yeah.
Builder, started learning it, teaching it. So it kind of is more about like having a bit of knowledge about how it fits into the ecosystem, especially for the people that are coming from the Salesforce side. Maybe someone that's an expert with Flow is going to get really interested in how you can use Flow to call MuleSoft APIs, right? And
Hmm.
then start teaching on that. That would be a great topic. So there's areas you can dig into and learn about. So I think just showing that you are a leader, you do have that curiosity to learn. Maybe you want to get some certifications. There's some great certifications out there. Someone recently came to me and said, "Where do I start?" Well, I said, "Well, there's the associate certification,
Hmm. Yeah.
also the hyper automation specialist." Those are things that really could tailor more towards the Salesforce side of things. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's it's just really leadership, curiosity, and just wanting to teach others, I think, and be out there helping the community.
Yeah. Definitely. And is there anything that you've come across like during your time in this role that could potentially help somebody that maybe struggles with something like public speaking? Is there any advice for somebody that might be thinking about that?
So thinking about my own journey
Mm,
overall, I actually used to be terrified of speaking in public, which is probably surprising with the number of events I speak at now. It's like I went from one
yeah.
extreme to the other, but it goes
Yeah.
to show that it can happen, right? So I'm
Mm.
actually a very introverted person, and I was terrified of presenting. I think it was for London's Calling in 2020. I was supposed to speak in person, but as we know, that got canceled because of COVID, and we were asked to record our presentations. Well, I kept trying to record my presentation and I just kept getting stage fright and I kept
Yeah.
stumbling. I was like, that's it, I can't do this. I was just having a hard time. And I think what really helped me, well, so there's two things. So I was planning to go for CTA, but I'm like, if I'm ever going to present to a board, I need to start getting comfortable with speaking,
Mm,
right? So I
yeah.
kind of forced myself to start doing public speaking, speaking at user groups, presenting at Dreamin' events, and speaking on architecture topics. So that really did help me. And then, of course, getting involved in community mocks really kind of got me through all that fear. And I don't really get too nervous anymore, but still, there's times when I can start to trip up a little bit or forget what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
get caught in my train of thought and go off go off the rails. Like, what was I
Yeah.
talking about? So, um, but definitely just practicing, just starting
Mm,
small. Don't I remember thinking like, "Oh my god, I couldn't imagine ever presenting in a breakout room at like Dreamforce. That's
yeah.
terrifying." Like all those people sitting there, and now I've spoken to crowds even bigger than that. So, it goes to show that, even those of us that are the most terrified can get through that. It just takes practice and wanting to work through that fear.
Yeah.
User groups. User
Yeah.
groups are great.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was just looping back to, because I think it's a great idea, even if you've got a big event coming up, like potentially practicing at a user
Yeah,
group.
absolutely. I know people that do that. Yep.
Yeah. And
Well,
yeah.
you'd be happy to know the very first user group I ever spoke at was the London Dev Group. My
Nice.
very first like public speaking appearance, so in person
Can
in
you remember
2000.
what it was about?
Heroku. I
Okay.
absolutely can. Yeah, and that's I didn't really know it at the time, but I
Mm,
wanted to do the certification, and I was asked if I wanted to speak on it. I said, "Yeah," so I'm going to go learn it. So it's a great example of how you don't actually need to be an expert in the things that you speak on. It's just a matter of having a curiosity and going out there and learning it, and then presenting on it, because that's how you're going to learn,
yeah,
teaching others.
definitely. Yeah, and I think you ultimately then start to reap the benefit of that by helping other people, spreading the word, and teaching as well, right?
Absolutely. Yep,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, awesome. So thinking about now your role as MuleSoft ambassador, is there a kind of myth or misconception that people think about when they think of a MuleSoft ambassador, and maybe compare it to, like, we've already spoken about the comparison to Salesforce MVP. Is there anything else like that that kind of comes to mind that you wanted to kind of make more people aware of, or perhaps clarify a common myth?
That's interesting. I think that a lot of people haven't really known what ambassadors were or that they
Mm,
existed. I know for me, the first time I was aware, I think it was at maybe TDX in 2022. One of the MuleSoft ambassadors got a golden hoodie, and I was like, "Oh, MuleSoft ambassador, what's that?"
oh,
So I
yeah.
became curious. So I started hearing about it, and then learned about the mentorship program and how you had to become a mentor first, and then you could then move on to
Mm,
becoming an ambassador. So I really didn't know a whole lot about it. Like I said, I didn't even know the benefits of the program until I became one. So that was exciting. Yeah, so I think maybe the misconception is it's not like the same
yeah.
level like an MVP, but it actually is. It's basically an MVP through the MuleSoft program, which is pretty cool. So I got, the free certifications and training and all those types of benefits that I was really excited about, because for me, I'm always learning and I'm always doing certifications. So
Yeah.
as someone that self-funded them all in the past,
Mm.
that was one of the greatest uh, benefits that I was able to receive.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's great, and it kind of helps to the spread the word really about the other programs, because I think, for example, Tableau has the Visionary program, and I think Slack has one as well, but I'm not sure what that's called. But there are other programs outside of the traditional Salesforce MVP, right?
Right, and they will actually have MVP parties where it is Tableau, Slack, MuleSoft, and Salesforce all together. All the different programs
Mm,
come in one party, which is that's how I got introduced to it all last year at TDX. Is they had like the one community party with all the different programs. So I was able to go to the MVP party as a MuleSoft ambassador.
yeah, awesome, and quite rightfully get treated as a VIP as well, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So Yeah, and the other misconception I think is that you need to have like all the MuleSoft certifications. Absolutely not.
Mm,
I would say the program can actually help you on your certification journey because you do get the free training and the free certifications. I think just showing that you have a curiosity like we talked about before and a thirst for knowledge is in leadership.
yeah,
So
exactly. It can ultimately help you develop those skills, but also help the community learn more too. So I think it's win-win.
yep, and
So,
I'm still on my MuleSoft certification journey. So one of my goals after I got CTA was move on to do MuleSoft, and I
mm.
thought I was going to do it like right after, like oh, as soon as I get CTA, I'm going to go do all the MuleSoft. No, it's taken a year or two now for me to actually start feeling like okay, I want to sit down and do all this learning and training. So
Yeah, and I think like in your case, like kind of be kind to yourself. You're running a company, you're doing a million and one other things. You can't have
yeah,
everything now, even though you might want it now, right?
yeah. And something that's interesting that happens with CTA is you spend so much time just in this really hardcore level of studying and practicing
Mm,
and preparing, and then you pass, right? So if all goes well, you pass, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't want to do anything. I went on world tour and I just started speaking everywhere. I'm just like, I'm just gonna teach. That's all I'm gonna do.
mm,
I don't want to do trailheads. I don't want to learn. I don't want to do certifications. I just wanted to present. So that was my way of blowing off steam after spending so much time dedicated about a year dedicated to preparing for CTA, and there was two review boards in that period of time. The first one I did really quickly. I didn't pass. I passed a few sections, and then I had to spend a whole bunch
mm.
of time preparing and I went really hardcore at it because I was like, I'm going back and I'm not failing. Like that's an option. So went back and I passed. So that was my goal. And once I was done, I just needed to relax and blow off steam. So there was no certifications happening for quite a bit.
Yeah, but lots of talking and lots of spreading the
Yes,
love, right?
yes, absolutely. And getting out there in the community. And I said I went on the CTA Golden Hoodie World Tour because I got them really like, back to back. I got the
Yeah,
Golden Hoodie and then went for my review board a few weeks later and then passed that. So
yeah. Okay, awesome. So kind of bringing this session a little bit to a close, but before we do go, what's a way for people to connect with you? And are there any particular pieces of content that you'd like to kind of signpost or shout out that could kind of help somebody on their journey to become MuleSoft ambassador?
sure. Lots of ways to connect with me. Twitter, LISSA underscore X, which is, external objects. That's why it's
Yeah.
there. I don't know if everyone gets that, but sometimes I quiz people when I present, like, do you know what that means? Do you know what that stands for in Salesforce? LinkedIn, that's a great way to connect with me. Also, if you're interested in architecture or you're an architect, there's the Architect Ohana Slack. So I'm in there. I'm also in the Ohana, the regular Ohana Slack. That's
Hmm.
the community Slack. I'm in there. I'm in all kinds of Slacks actually.
Yeah.
Too many these days.
Yeah.
Those are the best ways to connect with me. As far as a blog or anything, I think MuleSoft does have a good blog post. I'd have to go find it on what it means to be an ambassador and how to get going. I also do provide QR codes when I present specifically on MuleSoft of how to
Mm.
join a meetup, how to become a mentor, and just to find out more about the community. So I have those as well. So I can pass along some of that stuff to
Yeah.
you if you want to post some of it.
Yeah, cool. I'll be sure to kind of sneak that into the description. And I think on the ambassador thing, there was definitely a post recently when the new class was announced, right?
Yes,
So,
yes, they just announced them. So it's good
yeah.
to remember that the new ambassadors come out around the same time as the MVPs.
Hmm.
So if you are interested, get going, become a mentor now. So I think you can become a
Yeah.
mentor anytime, but the ambassador is a one time once a year thing.
Yeah. Like MVP.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks again for your time today. And hopefully, this content, when it goes out, it will inspire more people to pursue the path to become a MuleSoft ambassador. So, thanks again.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Be More with Tom Bassett. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave any feedback in the comments.